I guess it was my turn to push the go button.
I never press it.
You don't? I wonder why.
I don't know.
Huh, that's funny.
I'm closer to it too.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's just that thing. Maybe you're just, I'm always pushing my way in front of you and you just don't bother. Or something like that.
No.
I don't know. Well, folks, it's Friday. It's Glorious Friday. Not much glorious about it. I don't know. It's just a Friday.
Apparently, there's many Pokemon things happening. If anybody knows about Pokemon, please explain it to me. What?
Well, you know more than me.
Well, no, I know. It's just Sadie wanted Pokemon stuff for her birthday, and there is none. And I went to the game store, and the dude said that there's like a card that's worth $2,000 in there, and they sold out of all the ones they got in like 15 minutes. And I was like, I just want a gift card.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. Sorry, I'm distracted because my vision changed, and it looks fuzzy to me.
It's like, oh my God, it's like the teen movie She's All That with Freddie Prinze Jr. And then he's just like, takes off her glasses and she suddenly goes from being the art school girl to the pretty girl.
I thought that was a worn out trope, but come on, that was invented by 16 Candles.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh no, wait, it had to be older than that.
Probably, but that's what I know it from because I'm a millennial.
I get you. Okay, so let's what am I going to say? Let's look at our wrists. So cool, JDM speed timer. It really.
I like the dial so much.
Do you? I'm so glad. It's a really nice color blue, and I love how it fades to sort of that bluish silver with the green. It's awesome. And I am wearing this. I'm still wearing this since I rebuilt it. This is the Addis Ababa Panda. I need to go in and adjust it. It's really run in now. I've lost about 30 seconds since I finished it. So I'll go in and I'll adjust it again for my wrist and get that going. But my plan is to wear this until my Hoyer is ready. I've got my Hoyer all apart, and I've got almost all the replacement parts that I need in order to put this thing together. I have one part that's wrong. They sent me, I found all the parts. They sent me, I ordered, let's see. Okay, there's both of the sub-register hands. Here is the new mainspring. And they sent me one wrong part. I ordered 8200, which is the blocking lever, and they sent me 8220, which is the hammer. So they're sending me the correct part so I can put it together, but it's the only thing I'm missing now of everything else. This, that was broken, that was missing. Broken. And so they had a set of these original hands, and so I got the set. It's amazing. There's the hand that was on the watch. And there are those two. The loom matches beautifully. So anyway, that's my plan. Keep pushing, and then I'm gonna put that old Hoyer back together. Somebody had the nerve to write and comment that my dial was not original. My dial is entirely original. That is an original Hoyer dial. Isn't it pretty? I like it. And with that, we're back. It's actually not that cold today. It's sort of weirdly, well, it was weirdly warm this morning because there was a big front pushing in. Then the wind started kicking up and the clouds have come rolling in, and it's going to drop into the zero.
Yeah, I just did errands without a coat. I'm just wearing a coat because it's cold in the garage, but it's warmer outside. But yeah, it was nice, but windy. Okay.
Let's do it.
Introducing the CEVERT, is that?
I think so.
I don't know, I'm not French. 6139 600X Type 1 flat crystal. Am I reading?
Yeah, you can. People, I have a brand new crystal type out. A brand new crystal type. One that I've been working on for a while. The Type 1 flat crystal, the early 6139s. As far as I know, no one is making them. I'm the only one. And so this is a comment on that video.
Barry Kaplan Y3T. Spencer, I've seen bonded crystals, CRCs, on both Ceverts, blue dial, and Pogues, yellow, starting in 1969 through 1969, referring specifically to JDM 6139 6000s. They may go later, and they reportedly appear on some other models. You seem to specify Ceverts in this video as having CRCs. Safe to assume that you aren't excluding early Pogues from CRCs and flat crystals. Thanks.
I'm using Ceverts in the same way that we use Pogue, talking about the general watch style model. So for me, I was using it as any one of those early 6139s. I'm trying to think. I've probably, in my time, talking about the chrome ring crystals, I haven't seen that many of them. I really haven't. But then again, I'm not a really avid pursuer and collector of all those really early 6139s. Like, I sort of pick up stuff around the Pogue time, the really early speed timer stuff. Obviously, dudes collect that. I would get it as it would sort of come across my bench, or if I happen to notice something. I think I've only had 3 or 4 of those original 2-part Type 1 alpha crystals ever in this place. Really. And I can only remember one watch for sure that was like a nice wearable watch that still had that, and it was original. Gosh, I wonder whatever happened to that watch. I must have sold it like a decade ago. That's unfortunate.
Okay. I think this one was an email.
Yes, this is, well, one was a comment. Well, that's an email. You're right.
Mail call, email from Dave HETCHEL. Hi, Spencer. I have a Seiko SRPE93 with the 4R36 movement, successor to the SRP777 Seiko Turtle, which I can no longer hand wind. I noticed this one day while setting the time, day, date. The previous time I wore it, I had no issues. The crown pops out to the normal position fine and spins freely, but I feel no resistance and no engagement from the click. The time setting and the date, day crown positions work fine. I can wind the watch with movement via the rotor, and it still seems to keep accurate time. Also, the power reserve seems unaffected. There are no other issues with the watch. The watch is about a year old, but has some sentimental value. I just want to understand what the failure may be and possibly try to fix it myself. Also, will wearing it cause any more damage?
Okay, so I actually made a little segment about this where I went and got a movement out that just happened, a 4R36 used that happened to have the calendar elements removed. And so we're going to be able to look right at it. But a key point, something that you said, that you feel no engagement from the click. So it's just slopping around. Okay, I think that's a real good clue that what I think about in this video might be correct. Okay. So here's a 4R36 movement, partially disassembled. And you can see there's the automatic hand winding working. Unlike the earlier, 7S movement, which did not have hand winding, these do, but this is a derivation of that series. So Seiko kind of modified it. They have this handy dandy little SETI little bridgey thingy here. And as you can see, it's got 3 diddlies. 1 diddly, 2 diddlies, 3 diddlies. This one here, this is the winding diddly right here. You can see it spins freely, and the way it works is then when you push the crown in, this sliding pinion interacts with this one and turns it. And that's how it winds. So the only thing that could stop this thing from winding is if this is not sliding where it's supposed to be, if the keyless works on the underside are somehow messed up and it's not engaging right here. It's all I can really think of. It should, I don't imagine how that would happen just on its own spontaneously. You can see how that doesn't turn there. And it does there. I don't know. That's a weird one. First thing I'd want to do, honestly, is I would check the keyless works to make sure that the click lever didn't come off. But that's the best thing I can come up with for right now. Look at that. Lower mainspring arbor jewel. Isn't that neat? All right. And we're back.
Joseph Stewart, hey SNS, ain't it funny? I too am also someone who grew up obsessed with all things Titanic. I also believe that my love for the Titanic and Seiko dive watches were subconsciously linked. For me, the Seiko diver cases evoked images in my mind of portholes on the Titanic sister ships. I also loved reading books about how Robert Ballard found the wreck in 1985, my birth year, and I always imagined him wearing a 6309, no evidence at all that he did, and my love for deep sea exploration would have definitely played a part in my obsession with divers. Can you imagine if they hadn't scrapped the Olympic? Imagine if that thing was dry docked and converted into a floating hotel like the Queen Mary.
I'm just reading, I gave Sebastian a book on Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. And when White Star Line was saying, okay, well, in like 1935, that there wasn't enough passenger traffic to justify keeping Olympic alive, they had a report basically done up evaluating the condition of the ship. And the report was that Olympic was in A1 condition, like 100% ready to go. And when she was being scrapped, the scrappers noted that her hull was, what was the wording, unusually sound. So she was in fine condition, and that is, it's a hard thing to think about, because I wish that she had been saved. You know, what are you going to do? The other thing, Robert Ballard. So my folks used to own a house on Cape Cod. My dad did some stuff with Woods Hole as well. And but near that house in Cape Cod was the fish shop. And so I was down there, I was picking up lobsters, I think. And it's like, literally, it was just like, it's not anything fancy whatsoever. It was guys in stained white aprons behind a counter with a giant concrete saltwater tank behind them, just flinging lobsters at people. And I was in line behind Dr. Ballard.
I'm just imagining people throwing lobsters. Well, what did you do, and did you say anything?
It was really starstruck, I have to tell you. And also, I mean, I don't like intruding in other people's lives. I mean, when I met, the author Terry Pratchett, I just, I took as little of his time as possible, and he's like my favorite author. But anyway, Dr. Ballard was there. He was tall. We exchanged, I don't really think we exchanged more than the most basic pleasantries. But I will tell you this, he did not buy a lobster. He bought like pollock or something.
He also met one of the Mythbusters guys.
I did meet one of them, Adam. I met Adam Savage. I haven't met that many famous people. Lily Tomlin.
We technically met Neil Gaiman.
We did technically meet Neil Gaiman. I met an actress from TOS and TNG who played Dr. Pulaski in TNG. I met her. That was a day. That was certainly a day. I don't think I've met anybody else. I saw Vincent Price give a talk once.
I don't know.
Wait, you can tell me your Willie Nelson story.
So when I was like 17, I went to a Willie Nelson Bob Dylan concert, and I was in the front, I was there, he could see me, and he winked at me. It was so funny. All these other older women were like, Willie, and he'd like winking at me.
There you go. That'll warm you.
Yes.
And remember, folks, Willie is still with us, so take some time and appreciate you some Willie.
Mm-hmm. True Blue Miata. Hi, the guys at the Alpinists are quick to respond. Maybe get it into the queue, and in the meantime, bring the case up to working condition now. Good things are worth waiting for. Regarding the garage, can you not put insulation between the roof rafters? It wouldn't be as thick as you'd want, but would be something. And then, Sabrina, I used to sell those sweaters in the 70s. I'd love to find one again. Did you buy it recently? No, he bought it for me a really long time ago.
Off eBay. And it was the largest one I could find. That we're talking about Sabrina's Pendleton sweater, the one that's just like
the dude,
Jeff Bridges' character in
Big Lebowski.
Thank you. My brain just completely seized up. Let me see something. You mean the Lapinist, right? Not the Alpinist. Is the Alpinist something else? I'm not sure. I will write them. I went and I found, I dug through all my crap and I found some really nice engraving bits, really old school ones. And I was able to excavate out the channel for the case back gasket. And so that it's not pretty, it looks a lot better, and I'll be able to, get the case pushed down. I'm sorry, the case back screwed down properly. The one thing I'm looking for now is a crystal. That's the only thing, is I can't so far find any information on a crystal for that. It's a 32 millimeter crystal. It's super, super high inside. I can't really think of much else, any other way to describe the damn thing. It's Hardlex. If anybody has a clue, it's a what is my model? 166-330 or something. Hoyer calculator watch. I really need a crystal. If somebody is bored and has the time to research that for me, I would be so grateful. Okay? Thank you.
And then he suggested to put insulation between the roof rafters.
Oh, yeah, that too. I mean, I could, boy. But, rolling, first I'd have to empty out everything, but first we have to build the shed.
It's never going to happen. It's just rotting in the backyard in a box.
Yeah, I know. I know. The problem is doing the foundation. I've never done a foundation before, and it's just, it's intimidating.
The Panda from Addis Ababa. Biftannin BTTF. My God, that dirt buildup in the end link. There's a whole biome in there. Ew, I'm glad you didn't show me.
It was amazing. Like, the whole end link was packed solid with this sort of dark tobacco-y brown material. When I was cleaning out, there's underneath the buttons, it's there's a hollow, a round hollow, and then a tube is inserted. So there's this round channel. It was completely, the spring was cemented into the watch. I had to take an X-Acto knife and go around the inside of the channel between the spring and the case itself and it was just excavating this plume of dust and dirt coming out of the thing. It was crazy.
Dr. Tixon. That Panda gets service. Nice way to end the work week with a service video by Spencer. P.S. I think that wacky one is awesome and like it more. I like the Panda, but when I saw the wacky one, I said, wow.
Well, let's all say wow together. I made a little segment. Yeah, it's a pretty cool watch. Early proof marked. The loom's a little darkened down. I would probably clean this original hand loom with just a hair. But the flashes are nice and unfaded. What's this big squishy thing on here? Is that better? Ah, good. It's got its original two-part sweep, and you can see the remains of the original collar right there. They used to, when they would put these on, they would put a little drop of lacquer right here, I believe, to basically glue this hand on in place, because these are actually the second gen hands, and the force of the resets is enough to make these hands slide on their pinions, so or twist rather. So Seiko went and made the one-piece hand, which is even more securely put together than this, but this is the correct early one for a proof like this. In the old days, I probably would have painted this, and it depends how I feel. Right now, I'm actually starting to appreciate the yellow. It's a cool old watch, isn't it? Yeah, February 1970. One of the reasons I like this version of the UFOs versus the plain text is the plain dials they have, they're a little, I don't know, their dials are a little spare. I like this one because it's got more stuff going on. Anyway, there it is. It's a cool watch. Someday I'll service that.
Wow.
Wow.
Seiko 101, how to tell a repro Panda dial from an original. 1, 2, 3, Costi. There are repro dials out there where the first tell has been corrected. The text is exactly the same as on original dials. The applied logo is still the best tell, as are the indices. They are still a bit off, even on the best AM dials.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That it's that precision of the Seiko applied logo, the way that Seiko, when they stamped out all of their fine details, everything is just razor sharp and absolutely flat. And you look at the reflection on the top of that Seiko logo, and if it looks like it's a little rumply and blurry, or you can see that the edges are slightly rounded off, it's absolutely guaranteed that that's not original. Seiko stuff is as flat as a billiards table and knife edged. It's until somebody can match that quality.
Connor Whitworth 5182. Over the years, I've occasionally picked up some watches that could almost be NOS. It can make you think that the dials must be repro. I have a particularly nice King Seiko and a Tuna, for example. Just goes to show the quality of vintage Seiko. After years of reading up on and studying watches, only now do I feel more confident in what I'm looking at. I still rely on those in the Seiko community who know more than me. Do your homework or get burned.
Yeah, all we have is our, yes, absolutely, 100%. Got to trust yourself.
Are these two from the same person?
Yeah, he had a question and in 2 different emails. And so,
okay.
so we're going to read, this guy's getting a lot of airtime because he has 2 long questions.
6139 6005 restoration. Keith Weissman. Hello, Spencer. I bought a non-running Bruce Lee that needs to be serviced and the small recorder hand is missing. I've since ordered a replacement hand set for my watch, fairly inexpensive. I've noticed watching your channel that a lot of these Pogues and Bruce Lees come to you missing the recorder hands. Is this normal? And just what is going on? Are they disappearing from broken crystals and just not getting replaced?
Oh, I can only guess, but the thing is, I can tell you from experience, if one of those hands is loose somewhere, they are really easy to lose. They're really quite small outside their watch and they weigh almost nothing. So what is happening there is you've got the minute counter hand in a 6139 has a big wheel section. We're just going to imagine that there. Then it has a big pinion that sits in a bearing in the center wheel bridge, though it's jeweled in JDM ones. And then it's got a fairly long pinion section sitting on top of that the hand sits on. And so when you reset a 6139, you're all the force of your thumb is going boom, is being pumped right into that hammer reset. Unlike a Swiss watch where you push a switch which releases a spring which makes the thing so it's always soft and easy and nice. So what happens, you get a lot of the whipping of that piece getting hit a lot, the hand comes off and then it's bouncing around under the crystal, and then it's really easy to lose it. And if you uncase a movement and you forget that hand's in there and you're like, oh, here, and you go like this and you've got the movement in your hand and the case here, oh, well, where's the hand? We don't know where the hand is anymore. Ask me how I know about that happening. So that's usually the thing. That's my guess.
Have you ever tried Evapo-Rust Remover?
I have.
From what I've seen, it is odorless and non-toxic and really works well. I watched Hand Tool Restoration from Canada, and it's quite comical, but he's thrown in chunks of rusted parts with rusted solid screws and bolts that came free after soaking in Evapo-Rust. I've watched so many watch repair videos, I've learned all the cool parts and think I'm ready to start tinkering with watches, but that said, I've watched so many watch repair videos where Evapo-Rust would have done such a better job of removing rust. I just watched a popular watch repair channel put a watch movement back together that still had active red rust on the parts and green on brass copper part that he didn't even bother trying to clean up. It put me into OCD shock.
Yeah, Evapo-Rust is really cool. I've only used it with watch stuff one time with my great uncle's Rolex 1016 Explorer. I own it. I have it now. They had a swimming pool, and he was one of these guys who he just used things until they broke. And so he used that watch and wore it all the time until it flooded in the pool. It flooded with pool water, you know, stuff is corrosive. And he just threw the watch in the back of the drawer. And then my cousin-in-law sent me that and her Omega 321, which was also rusty and battered and destroyed and had blood on it from an accident, God knows how many years previously, and he'd taken it off because the lug was bent and he'd thrown it in the drawer. Didn't even bother cleaning it off.
Decades previously.
Decades previously. Anyway, so, but the movement was really rusty. And when I was doing research, because I really wanted to save it, Evapo-Rust was recommended to me and I tried it and it did actually do a pretty amazing job. The one thing that it did that I didn't like is the hairsprings on those watches are blued, and the Evapo-Rust took that bluing off. They wouldn't have any effect on how the watch behaved, but that's the one thing that I did notice. It hasn't occurred to me to use Evapo-Rust since then. I haven't had a watch that rusty anyway.
Time to go find one.
Yeah, it's just when it hit the coating on, and I remember other parts in that watch too. When I was cleaning it, it was so rusty. I had a good amount of plating loss that at the time I pegged on Evapo-Rust, but I'm not sure if that's true.
I think you should go through all your watches and find a rusty one and do a time-lapse video and see what happens.
I'll have to think on.
I can't think of any super rusty ones.
I've got a pretty rusty Bellmatic. I have a few rusty 5100s. I have no idea why 5100s, maybe 5200s, 5606s. I have a couple seriously rusty movements there. I have so many rusty 6309s. That's probably what I should do, is I should go through my 6309 collection. I guarantee you I have rusty 6309s. I have rusty 6139s too.
Well, I think that would be a fun video because I want to see it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We could do a time-lapse video.
Mm-hmm. KVW's overdue review, Seiko SBD-X001 Marine Master. S. Richards 5512. I've been wearing mine daily since 2013 and I never tire of it. That small deep dial is something that I would never compromise on. Such a cool, handsome looking piece that's beautifully polished and ready for action. Mine runs plus 10 seconds a day, but this doesn't bother me. I bought it new for 1,600 pounds and it's worth it. I also have a G-Shock metal square, so these two watches don't need to be mollycoddled.
You know, it's a working watch, and they are beautiful, and they're just a joy to look at. There's something Seiko did just right about so many of the elements of the SPDX-001. There's always, of course, me being me, I can always find things to complain about, but more and more as the years go by, I love it more and more. And when I got this new to me one, this near NOS one that's in my watch box now, I was looking at it and I really was just blown away by it. They're just an incomparable watch.
The Seiko 6309704X, all three variants. Russell Rowe Botham 5358. I have an early 6309 7040 SKX and it has a foil ring under the bezel. I can't find a replacement part as I have bent it when replacing the bezel. Any idea what this circular thin metal piece is? If I have a part name, I may be able to order a new one.
Okay, so what you're talking about there, it might be easier actually if I show you. So you know what, I'm gonna show you, but this is also the last question I happen to see. So we're gonna say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, and I will, I'm gonna insert one more thing about the rotating rings, and that's the end of it. Okay, thank you folks. Okay, long story short is that Seiko made two thicknesses of inserts. They had the early 6105 thickness, which was thinner, and then they had the later 6309 7548, which was generally thicker, but it's mix and match. So what they did, though, to be able to use both sorts of inserts, is that they made a little spacer diddly. You can see it there. That's why the underside of this looks silver. It's a spacer because this is a thinner 6105 style, you know, thin insert, though of course 6105 never had Pepsi bezel, and that's the thicker later kind. This is the piece that we're talking about. There's no part number that I'm aware of. If you really, is yours missing or something? Because I mean, they just go in between the, you put these in first, put that in, and then the insert on top of it, and go click. So I don't know, if you have a question, feel free to write me at kvw at kleinvintagewatch.com, and I will I'll be happy to check it out for you. Okay, thank you much.